Hey guys, sorry for the 2-year break. I had to throw my old tripod away. So we're using a new one today that I got from eBay. It's a little bit better than the one I used to use. And it actually holds my phone up and makes sure it doesn't fall down. So this one will be a little bit easier. So for my first video back, I thought I'd do a clean back video so that you can see me do a clean back. And I'm going to see if I can get you to really see, but okay, that's fine. We'll just do that. Okay, anyway, I'm just going to take it real slow so you guys can really see what to do with a clean back alpha. And we're going to do a keychain that only has 3 colors, or 3. I'll do it like this because that's the sign language way. And okay, so I've already cut my strings, and I usually cut my strings about 15 inches for keychains. Anything that's small, that's what I'll usually do. And then I put my string on the bobbins, because I always make sure I keep my string on bobbins. Even if I'm doing scrap thread, I will probably put the scrap thread on a bobbin just so I can have it. It's easier to hold for me. So anyway, let's go ahead and start this pattern. This is a very, very simple pattern. It's only got 3 colors. And so when you're practicing for a clean back alpha, you want to choose a pattern from your to-dos that has 2 to 3 colors just for your first try at clean back. So I'm going to attach my thread and I'll start knotting. And I'm going to do the straight edge technique, so you'll see me using that. Okay, so I'm going to start my pattern from the second row down. And I'll put in the description what pattern this is if you guys want to do it for your first try at knotting a clean back. So just let me do my first row really quick. This one is only 12 strings plus the leading string of whatever color you're going to be using for your background and picture. Sorry if there's any noise in the background. I can't control what's going to happen. My dog may bark at the vacuum. He's very loud and crazy sometimes with it, so yeah. now I'm at the last two strings. Now this is where I actually would add in the color that is going to be for my picture, because in the next row is going to be where the picture is going to come in for this. So, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and tie this next to last knot in row 1. Now always make sure you're knotting twice. Now, okay, we're just going to take our next color, which for me that is going to be pink. This pattern has hearts in it, so I'm using a pink for the hearts. And they are actually blooming hearts, so there's going to be green for our leaves and stems. Later on. Now you can use, I like to use strings in the colors of the colors that I'm using in the keychain. You can do whatever you want. This is just what I like. This is just my preference. So, yeah. All right. So let's just knot a forward, backward. Now, when you're putting in a new string, you want to make sure that you knot over it and your bass string. So you're going to tie that nice and taut, and then do your backward knot. Just take it nice and slow. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do our next row, which is going to be 4 of this one, 2 of this one, 1 of this one, 2 of this one, 3 of this one. So I'm going to take it really nice and slow so you can see me doing it. The only thing is, this thing does not want to go, it does not go lower. So move you guys a little bit so you can see me. Okay, so now we're just going to take this over top of these 2 strings with a forward knot, and we're going to bring up our knot, our string for the hearts. Okay, so now we'll just knot our backward knot. Okay, now we're going to move this away, and then we're going to knot our backward knot. Move this back, making sure that it's in line with our knots and not around this bass string. And this knot should go right over top of our pink string, which is what we want to be happening, okay? All right. Move this away again. And knot around the bass string. Then move this back. Knot around the bass string again, making our string just disappear. until we get to where our pink string is going to come into view. Ooh, there. I zoomed in for you guys so you can see what I'm really talking about. Again, this tripod is really nice for knotting videos now with my phone. Alright, so this is our last knot in the row that is our background color, which I am using a creamy yellow color. Alright. So I just pulled my pink string till it was pretty much out of view, like you cannot see the end anymore. Now when you're doing the first knot, you want to do it as slow as you can and you want to pull it gently because you do not want your string to come out of these 4 knots, because then you will have to unknot these or take a needle and put it back through those knots again. And believe me, I've made that mistake many, many times. And this thread, this is Athena's thread, and it is so soft and slippery. It just slips through like butter. So I have to be very, very gentle and just tie very loosely with my first knot. Otherwise, I end up having to go back and redo all this work again. So just very gentle. There's our first knot. And you want to make this now the string that you want to hide. So we're going to take that away and do our second knot right like this. Very nice and easy. Okay, see how easy that was? Alright, and now we're going to do a yellow knot. We're just going to tie around our bass string, bring the string that we want to cover through, and then tie another knot over top of that string that we're covering and around the bass string. Alright, and then here is our 2 pink knots again. Now in the next row I am going to have to move this pink string. Well, in this row I have to move it because in the next row this string is going to be coloring this string to make it into a heart. So basically what we're doing is we're taking strings and making them, controlling them and making sure that they go into whatever pattern that we're doing. Now Masha is right. Bracelet Book does teach us how to actually do the clean back alpha. So you can take that tip from her and say that's true. So sorry, Laddie just barked. And so now we're just going to knot around this bass string with our pink string and bring our yellow back and knot that. So now we are going to knot our yellow knot. Okay, so we are going to move this pink for our next round. So we want to go through, okay, this knot with our pink. So it's going to go through and behind the next knot, okay? All right, and now we're going to hide it. So we're going to knot our backward knot, and then we're going to take this pink string and hold it down. I like to hold it with the base string so that I make sure I knot over the base string and over my leading pink string. Okay, and this is not the row where we're going to put our green in yet, so I don't need to do that yet. Okay, and then just going to knot my backward. Oops. This is my little end here, down here, where I started my yellow thread off. And I like to knot around it so that it's nice and hidden. Okay. Just gently pull that around there. Okay. Now we're ready for row 3 of this picture. I'm actually, well, I can take you through it and we can do the whole heart if you want. It's pretty simple. Okay, so I chose a very simple pattern for you guys, so it's not too hard. So you'll just knot around the space string. Now, remember, take your time and don't rush it. Because if you rush it, you may mess up. And I may be a bracelet king on bracelet book, but I make mistakes too. We all do, don't we? Okay, so now we're going to bring up our pink string and knot so that make sure it's in the right spot. Okay, so this row is going to be 2 of this one, which we already did, and then 7 of this one. So we're going to do the first knot, and now you don't have to do a gentle pull. You can do a tight pull now because these 4 knots that we made with our pink in this first row are made nice and tight and will hold so that our end does not, and our picture does not go away. Okay, sorry about that. My dog is really barking a lot because of vacuuming. He does not like anything that moves in our house. Hang on. There we go. Sorry about that. My dog. Okay. We love him. He loves us. It's okay. Okay. And so I'm just going to knot around the base string, and I'm going to bring this one through and make sure it is under the next knot. Just like that. Move it away. Knot around this base string. Bring this back. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to knot over top of this cream. Oops, sorry. There we go. Made you guys shake. And we're going to knot over this. Move this back so it goes underneath. There's 4. Move this away. Knot around this base string. Now, if you have 4 strings or more than one color anyway going through here and you are getting really frustrated with that, you just want to make sure you pull. I only have one color going through this, but when you're doing a color changing one that has like 4 going in the same row, you want to tie this string and just pull it as tight as you can to make all those strings just disappear into that one little knot, and it'll be like not seen anywhere in your work. Just trust me, guys. This is like a very, very easy technique. I have practiced. So, and I've figured out how to do it with 17 colors going. So, trust me, I know what I'm doing. But I make mistakes too, just like we all do. It's just a trial and error kind of thing, and you just have to really take your time when doing it and make sure that you're taking your string, whatever one that you're trying to hide, through the knots and not back behind here where your picture is going to be on the back as well, so that you can make sure that you have a same image back here too that you are making in your front. So it's nice and clean, and you can put this on a keychain, and you don't have to sew something on top, on the back, to hide all of that. But if you want to not do a clean back, you can definitely sew a piece of fabric or something on the back, and then like maybe put, I don't know, something on it to make it into like a pouch and make it more than a keychain. I've seen things in shops like that you could probably do, and then you would hide your mistakes and hide all that mess that you don't want viewed. But if you want to do a clean back like I've been doing, you can do this method and just kind of make it so that it's nice and hidden and unseen. There we go. Okay. So now the pink, it's not going to be moved for the next row because it is the same number of knots here. So I can hide it again. And so I'm just going to knot around this space string. And I'm going to bring this down again like that. And do the forward knot around the pink string and the green string. So when you're hiding strings that are going to be in the same thing, you just want to knot around them like you would a bass string. And you want to make sure you tie it as tight as you can to make sure it really gets hidden really well, so that it's nice and being the color of our background color. There is a forward, backward knot. Okay. All right, so the next row is just like the row I just did. We're just going to do 3 of this color and then 7 of this color and then 2 of this color. So we can create the rest of this top of this heart. This would be actually a nice gift for a Valentine person. Anyway, that is your Valentine. So it would be nice for whenever you celebrate Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is actually one of my favorite holidays of the year. I like to think about all the happy things that go with it, not about the sad things. And even though if you don't have a Valentine, you can still make this project for somebody else that likes hearts. There are people that like hearts, so yeah. Or if you just want to tell somebody that you love them without actually saying, I love you, then you could make this pattern and it would say, I love you to them. So we're going to do our pink knot here. And I'm going to hide our background color by pulling it through. So it's just going to be knotted over top of, so not around of. So you're not going to be hiding this string because you want to make sure that it goes through this way and not this way. Because if you go this way with it, then you're not doing these 2 knots in yellow later on. And trust me, I've had to do, I've gotten too far in the pattern and I have to end up cutting this string and then putting it back in and getting it ready to be where I need it to be in other patterns that are much bigger than this one that we're doing. This one's only 12 strings, so yeah. Again, try doing a pattern that's probably going to be under 15 strings. You do not want to be doing one that is humongous for your first clean back, so that you don't get too confused. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong bobbin. Again, make me laugh. All right, so we're just going to knot around this space string with our pink string. We're going to take our yellow string through. So it's going to go in between these two pink strings. So we're just going to tie around this space string and tie it nice and taut. And now it's nice and hidden in there. And you won't see it appearing in the back. Just take your time, don't rush through it. Especially since this would be your first time. This is not my first time. My first time was a long while back. And it did not go well because that one actually was only supposed to be like 4 colors. And I added 3 more because I wanted my rows to have a gradient effect. And I did not have gradient string then, so yeah. I added way too much string in it. And I'm not proud of it. But I remade it so that it would look better. But I was not smart and I did not think about, oh, it'll be fine. It'll look fine. It does not look fine. It does not look fine. Anyway, enough about that. Just take your time and tie one knot here. And we're going to put this back. And we're going to knot over it. So we're going to knot around the base string, and this knot will go over top of this color, and this color will go in between this base string here and this leading string here. I'm just going to knot really nice and tight so that it disappears into the void. Knot around this space string with this back, knot again around the base string with our backward knot, and this is our last knot in this row that is supposed to be pink. Now in the next row, this pink string actually is going to move from the second yellow knot in this row to the third yellow knot, but we're just going to still hide it on the second one and just move it with the row because there's no way to really like fix that. So now I'm just going to knot this one. Now, if you actually come to like, say like this is the end and you have to color change near the end, what you can do is not actually hide this string. If you're going to be using it on like the next one, like have like, say like there's like a flower on the edge, that you have to have this color in on the edge, then don't hide this string with this string. Okay, sorry about that. My dog is just being himself. Okay, so we're going to hide this one because we're actually not doing that kind of thing. But anyway, if you were to have a picture on the edge and do that, you can just not knot around this color and just knot over your base string and just kind of leave it open. I've done that and it actually works out for me because then I can just easily do that. Now if I'm color changing near the edge, I actually will knot my string for that color in the row before it, and I'll have it like near the edge like this on the second knot next to the edge, and then I can just take this and knot around this space string here with it and lead with it and not have to worry about it. But I have to make sure I knot around this the background color too, so that it will actually hide this too. But in this pattern, this specific pattern, we're not going to be doing that because this doesn't go to the edge. So, yeah. Sorry. My stomach is growling because I have not had anything to eat. Okay, so we're just going to knot around our base string here. And keep hiding this little end. You know, I might actually just cut that off because I think I've knotted around it enough. Now, if you actually have color changing where it's like gonna be near the edge, don't worry about it. You can cut it off if you have to. So I'm just gonna cut that off really quickly. Just like that. Easy. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do row 5. And this heart is only about 7 rows long. So, well, really 6. But 8 including like the rows around it. So we're just going to knot a backward forward knot over this space string. Okay, so now we're going to knot a forward knot, and on this string we're going to bring up our pink string again. Now when you are knotting this forward knot, you want to make sure you're going around this pink string and this yellow string, or whatever color you're using for your heart. I did not use a variegated string because I wanted to make sure you guys saw what I was doing and could pay attention to what I was doing and not the color that I was using. You can use whatever color you like. You can use a variegated string if you want to, but I would practice first with like a solid color, I would not do a variegated string until you really know what you're doing. Okay, so our next knot is going to be a yellow knot. So we're going to move our pink away from this string so that I can have room to knot with the yellow string. And we're going to move our pink string back and knot around and over top of it with our yellow. Okay, see how easy that was? Very, very easy. And not frustrating at all. And now we're just going to use our pink string like we would, it would be our color for the picture. And it's going to be our leading string now. So we're going to hide the yellow string and make sure it goes through our pink knot. So we're going to make one knot with our pink string, showing you again. And you can see this actually kind of came up into that knot. So I'm just going to pull this gentle and make sure it's pulled out of that knot so that it will not have a little yellow bubble there. And then we can just knot around it and onto that base string there. And this row has 5 pink knots, so that our heart gets smaller and looks more like a Valentine heart. Put this back. Make sure it's nice and straight. And then we're going to tie this. Oops. Like this. Make our little sail smaller. When I was taught how to make forward and backward knots, I was told this is like a sail, like this. As you can see, it's in the shape of a sail on a sailboat. Someone taught me when I was like 11 how to do a bracelet. So that's how I learned how to tie my forward and backward knots. I'm going to tie it in the shape of a sail, around and behind. And at that time, I did not know about alphas. I only knew about normal bracelets, so normal patterns. So I did not know about these really pretty alpha patterns. And now that I do, I actually really am happy that I know about them because they really help me learn techniques like this. And you can see our heart is being created right now. Okay, so you're just going to knot around this base string with your background color, whatever color you're using. Mine is this light, very light yellow. which I believe is 746. So it's also a DMC color. Athena, they use DMC for their dye lots. So here is the little number right there. From the skein. So we're going to tie it around this pink and green string. So we can make sure we hide our pink color until it's time to use it again. And I'm going to tie around these base strings. I am pretty fast with my pattern, so sorry if I am really quick with you guys, but I really have gotten faster with my patterns. So I can make them in a day or in a few days, depending on how many colors and how much time I have to work on it. And I've been using my tablet a lot whenever I do my patterns, because then it's a lot easier to use and it's nice and big, so I don't have to look at my phone all the time. But I will use my phone if I'm out and about at like a restaurant or at church doing my craft work, because my tablet does not, well, it does have Wi-Fi, but it does not connect to the internet that would be around it, because it's not set up for that. So yeah. Okay, so we're going to knot around this space string and start row 6. One thing I have to do is when I'm doing this pattern like this, I have to, because this one, it begins with 2 rows of this color before this heart. So I'm actually doing this backwards of what the pattern is showing me. So yeah. Okay, anyway. We're going to knot around this one with a forward knot and then a backward knot, making our loop smaller. I'll say loop instead of sail so you don't get confused. Knot around this string with our loop and make it small. Okay. So this row we have 5 knots that are in the yellow. Boom. Boom. Okay, so now we're going to move our pink string here. So, because this one's going to make 3 pink knots instead of 5, like it did in our last row. So we're going to bring it up and we're going to hide it by bringing it up and through this knot. Okay. So now we're going to move this back because we're not knotting with it yet. We still got to make our 5th yellow knot. Just like this. So there's our 5th yellow knot. And that's the first half of that knot. So we're just going to bring our pink string through. It's going to be going over top of this space string. And underneath of this string. So we're going to knot around this string, making sure to cover this little pink string up. Okay, and now we're going to knot with this pink string. And now this pink string is going to become the blanket for this string. It's just like a blanket on a bed. These base strings are the bed for this string. And then this string here is the comforter or sheet, whatever you want to call it. So basically it's just like making a bed. So you're going to knot around the base string. You're going to bring your background color through over top of your base string, and then you're going to knot around with your leading string that you're using at that moment, and knot over top of it, making a little cover for this string so that it will be nice and covered and your back looks like this. Knot around this space string, making sure that your background color is away from the knot. Bring your background color through. Knot over the background color and around this space string, and there it just disappears. Alright, and now we're going to hide this pink string again. So I'm just going to knot with this yellow string. I'm going to take the pink string down, and we're just going to hold them together just like this. And we're going to knot around the yellow base string and the pink string like it is a base string. And tie it nice and tight so that it gets hidden. And our picture in the background isn't disturbed at all. Okay, and now we have actually come to the row with the last knot for our first heart in this pattern, and I'm actually going to kind of stop recording at that point so that you can see how easy it is to put in our new color. But again, you just have to put this in. I like to put this in on the row before the row that it goes into so that its little end can be held in this first knot until wherever it is in the picture, so that it just has a nice tightness and it won't, like, you know, be pulled out and then you have to restart all over again. So anyway, let's do this row real quick where we're going to add in our green. So let me just do that. So this row we're going to do 5 yellow knots. So that's 1. There's 2. 3. Okay, so I'm going to take it nice and slow on this knot where this pink string is. So knot around the pink string and the yellow base string. And we're going to stop in between the first and second knot of this color and bring up our pink string, which I just did it. And you want to make sure that you bring it up and have it above this string, or you will see it in the background on your back, and you will not be happy about it. Okay, so I'm going to move our pink string because it is going to be moved to the middle, and there's only going to be one pink knot this time. So we're just going to knot over this space string. We're going to bring this color through and over top of this base string. So it's going to go in between this, and we're going to make a little cover for it, just like that. And tie this nice and tight. Like I said, if you have one or two or more strings going through this at the same time, you want to tie this string and pull it as tight as you can so that it disappears and you won't see any trace of it in this picture at all. I mean, you might see a little itty bitty mark, but nobody would ever notice that, and they'll still like it even though. If they're like the people that have purchased my keychains, they don't mind if there's a little itty bitty mark of the color that I used for that pattern. They still just enjoy it. Now, this pink string is going to have to be moved for the next heart in this pattern, but if you're just doing like one heart, you could do that. I am probably just going to do this whole pattern, but I'm going to do that off camera. I'm just showing you guys with this heart so that you guys can see how to actually do this. So let me just do, so since I'm actually going to do that, I am going to move my pink piece, my pink string, to my fourth yellow knot. I know how to plan ahead, so I plan ahead and I hide my string on the string that it's going to be on for the next heart or next picture that this is going to make. So for me, that's going to be the fourth knot. So there's one. Okay. Cover it up. There's two. Now, if you were to end it here, you would actually be doing what I am actually doing, and you're going to take this all the way to the end here, and then you would just snip it off, and that would be the end of your heart. And you would actually make sure you put this in at the end before snipping off, and make sure you don't snip the end of this because then it will not be very good. And then you will have to make sure you start all over again. Oopsie, I did not tie my yellow knot yet. Okay. There's that. And there's my yellow knot to cover it, making my cover extend a little longer. And here is the last one where it will be hidden. So I'm just going to take this like that, knot around both these strings. Okay. Alright, so here is the last knot in this row, and I'm going to unwind this just a bit. And I'm going to hold it with this bass string, making sure that they're both together and they will actually be used as a bass string. And then knot my backward knot around it, just like that. And there is our next color added in. Okay, so if you have done it like I have, you should have a nice clean heart in your back. So I hope this video helped you guys out. I hope your day is nice and sunny, and even if it's rainy, I'm sure there's sunshine somewhere. Because it's always up there. Have a nice day, my lovelies. And happy knotting. Bye.